So I thought it would be easy. I'm going to write all this down for you, but I thought it would be kind of nice to have a quick video on all the steps from start to finish on how to use your new makeup. So the first thing I want to start with is the stay spray. So the stay spray that you ordered is a little bit different than this one I have right here. This one does not have SPF, but the other one does. And I thought that's what I'm going to get next, and I thought would be good for you. People with oily skin have to be a little bit careful with the one with SPF, so that's why I haven't really jumped into that just yet. But first thing is you spray this in your face. Now you're going to laugh as I remember, get your face really wet. Usually while that is drying, I typically brush my teeth, do stuff like that, go make my tea. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get this to dry a little faster. The first thing that we are going to start with is going to be your concealer. So for the concealer, out of the brushes that you have, I'm going to try to show you the brush that I'm referring to, even though I don't actually have them and we'll be using different brushes for the video. But this is the first brush to start with, is this concealer one that you got. So with that, you are going to start with your concealers. So this is really good to kind of help show you where to put all the colors, except for this one only focuses on you using one highlight. And for you, we kind of are using a combination of 3 different highlights. So while it's good, it's not going to show a couple of steps that we have in here. So for example, the one we're about to do using the concealer. And then the other one it's not going to show is you using your brightener, which is kind of towards the middle part of this process. But we'll go ahead and get started on that concealer. So for your concealer, I just showed you the brush that you're going to use. So I'm going to use my equivalent brush. And you're going to start with this first color, which is Mango. So Mango is going to, again, just stipple it in there softly. Mango is going to go under your eye. And again, just remember to kind of pull your skin as you're getting that under eye part. And just stipple it in. Don't swipe it in. Just pat, 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 pat. Now for me, as I'm going through this, I have other discolorations like sunspots and my melasma. So this is the color that I typically cover any other sunspots. So if you end up getting kind of like a blemish from a pimple or anything like that, this is the color that you're going to want to do to conceal that in addition to under your eyes. So pat, 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 all up in there. I have really veiny eyelids, so usually whatever's left over, I don't get extra on the brush, but whatever is left over, I will just swipe it up in there. And again, kind of getting that sunspot and that melasma, just stipple, don't swipe it, to cover. Okay, so that is kind of where I go with my concealer. The next color that you're going to move on to is going to be your highlight color, your main one. And that is for you going to be this amber color right here, which is second. And on that paint by numbers is basically this yellow one on here. So out of the brushes that you have, here is the brush that I recommend using for this. And this is going to be the foundation brush that you should have. Now the thing about this brush is that it has a flat top and it's very dense, which is perfect for putting that highlight color, stippling it onto your skin. However, with this makeup, the tins are only so wide, so you're going to want to squeeze the tip of it to kind of make it oval, so like it's nice and round, and then just kind of squeeze it as you kind of pat it in. So the brush I'm going to use for this though is going to be this one, so mine's already kind of squeezed. So I really won't go through that piece, but just remember to kind of squeeze it so it fits in the tin and it's not picking up color from your Mango or your contour down here. Okay, or from your blush. So for this color, I like to start up here on my forehead, just kind of getting all of the spots. Again, just stipple that on there. I don't really get the center of my forehead because right here is going to be more of that brightener color we're going to use here in a little bit. So I just get the sides. I get down here, kind of around my face, kind of over here on my cheekbones. I don't go too up in my eyes because that, again, going to be the brightener spot. So I'll kind of let that do its purpose there. The ideal with a lot of this is to not have it caked on and have too many layers. So if there's areas that we know another color is going to go, we kind of just try to avoid those. So I'm going to come back around here, and I as you can see, I'm not really blending all that much right now. There's a later step that we'll kind of make sure to do more blending. For now, we're just trying to get the product basically on our face and in the general spots we want to get it at. And again, I don't have to really go too heavy here because brightener is going to go there. Do underneath your nose, on top of your, inside that where a lot of redness gets. It's kind of a good spot. And again, we don't have to blend too much, but it is kind of good to get it all up on there. Okay, so that is, and again, for my eyes, I always just kind of go ahead and remove some of the product from the brush by just putting it there. Okay, so now that we have that piece, so as you can kind of see, I have color here, kind of up in here, my nose, around the side of my face, and in my chin, and definitely right here. So the next step that we're going to go ahead and move on to is going to be your contour. So again, your contour is this brown one. So we're going to be going up on our forehead, underneath our cheekbone, down here, and a little bit in our nose. So with more mature skin, I was reading that it's actually probably good not to put your contour to kind of right here, which is what I was doing. So we're actually just going to kind of do it at the top of the forehead and just stop and not go all the way down. So this is kind of what you probably remember as the 3. So the 3 has you kind of moving a line down here, so we're not going to move our line down here. So for contour, out of the brushes that you have, I recommend that you use this brush, which is your angled contour brush that you have. And I'm going to use one similar to that, which is going to be this one. And so I'm going to kind of dab it in there. You do have to dab it in the contour a little bit more than you dab in the highlight. The consistency is a little thicker than your highlight colors. So got a good bit on there. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start with my forehead. It's going to look a little messy, so that's okay. I'm not going to worry about blending it too much. And then I'm going to kind of figure out where that shadow now would naturally fall on your cheekbone. And just kind of sweep it up like this. And for you, what I recommend is that you kind of do like a little bit of a hook right there. And what that will do will kind of help lift this cheek right here to kind of help that skin. Okay, and then go ahead and get this side. Again, I'm not really blending too much at this point, but I am kind of getting it hooked up there for later. And this is your Astoria contour. Okay, and then this part is really important, is your under your chin contour. And you want to be very careful to make sure that you're getting under your chin. So kind of start right here in that crease. And then just to make sure you're not giving yourself a beard, because if you kind of go up here, then it's definitely in the wrong spot. So for you, what I recommend is with this contour, because remember contour is hiding the things that we don't really want the light to emphasize. So we're using kind of this darker color. So for contour, actually put this down your neck right here. And we're going to blend it, but this kind of just starts hiding some of that extra skin that we don't really want to emphasize to people. Just putting it right here. Now again, we're going to blend all that, but for now, kind of have it right there. So at this step, we still have a couple more pieces, which is going to be your blush and your brightener. But I want to pause on applying new product. And at this point, I kind of want to go through and do a first level blending. So for blending, I want you to go back to your foundation. That flat top foundation brush is this one right here. And I'm going to use my similar one to it. And start with blending that contour. So up here on my head, I'm just going to softly just rub it up into my scalp. Up, 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 up. Kind of up, because I don't want to go down, because this is where we want to have some brightening. So I'm just going to kind of get that up in there. And again, I'm not going to drag it too far down in here. So then the next piece is going to be blending that contour. Now the contour, when you blend it, you want to be blending up and back. So not down and not out, but just kind of blend it up and back to kind of make it have a little bit less of a harsh line. Right there. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and get this side done. Again, that kind of up and back. To kind of get that full part. And then we're going to kind of blend back down here and just blend down. So everything on your chin contour, your neck contour, you're gonna do it soft. You don't want to take off the product. But you want to blend that down. Down, 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 down. So now it's kind of just giving that nice little shadow right here. Okay, so now that we kind of got some general blending going on, I want to move on to your brightener. So your brightener is going to be kind of in that pie shape underneath your eye and then kind of down your face in your T-zone. And again, this is where we want people to see. We want people to emphasize that aspect. So for this part, I want you to move on to back to your concealer brush. I'm going to use my similar one. And this is where we use this color over here. This is our Candlelit highlight. So again, I just dab. Remember, its consistency is much thinner, I guess, or picks up better on the brush than the contour, so you don't have to dab too much. So I'm gonna start right here, kind of just get some brightening right here, because we didn't really put any of that amber there. And then under our eyes, and we're gonna do kind of a triangle, kind of like way up here. And never stipple, make sure you're pulling that skin so it doesn't get caught, but you want to bring it back up here to this corner of this eye, because that really helps open up your eyes and that skin area. So again, we're stippling, 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 stippling. Then we're going to come on this side, pull that skin, and stipple some more. Don't do too much swiping. I know it's kind of hard sometimes. I mean, I still kind of swipe. But just as much stippling so that it doesn't really wipe it out of those creases, but it pushes the makeup into your skin by doing this. Okay, so then the next part that I do, this kind of brightening piece, is going to be down my nose, right here in my chin. Not too much. Okay, so since we just did our brightening our nose, we also need to do our contour. So what I would recommend is taking that concealer brush that you just had and just kind of wipe it off and take the edge of it, if you can, not like dabbing in, but kind of take that edge and just get like that fine line and then just kind of run it down the edge of yours. We got a lot. That's okay. We'll blend. And then I got that in. Oh, it's kind of funny. Okay, so now we're gonna, again, wipe this off and use that flat top foundation brush. So we're gonna switch back to the foundation brush, which was the flat top circle one, right here. And we're going to blend that in. So when you get to this like brightening spot right here, we're just gonna blend that up into your forehead to kind of make it look that really nice, pretty color. And then here, I kind of just blend my nose up and then kind of softly blend that contour. You don't want to get rid of it, but definitely needs to be blended. Okay, blend that brightening up in that way. Again, you want to lift everything, so kind of blend it up into there. Ooh, blend that chin. Okay, so now that we've done that, we get to move on to the fun color, which is your blush, to give you a little bit of light. So this is the brush we're going to use. Same one we use for our contour. We're going to now use it for our blush color. And so what I typically do if I'm using two different colors with the same brush, I just wipe it off right here. And today I'm going to do this pink grapefruit. Now this is probably, like I said earlier, this is going to be your more daytime, a little brighter. Now, they are very pigmented, so just soft touches into them. And then right there on that higher cheekbone piece, and we're going to want to bring it all the way back into that bar. See, really bright. It's okay. Once we use all our powder, it'll kind of tone it down. But do it the same to the other side. And this is the pink grapefruit. And again, I kind of just stipple it first, and then I do a little bit of swiping because it's kind of blending it at the same process, same time. And sometimes what happens is that during this process, I end up getting my blush too much into my eyes. So I'll kind of take that blending brush again, and I'll just, again, pull that lighter stuff down into my eyes, into that blush. So it kind of gives a little bit softer line. And then I'll probably come in here between my blush and my contour and soften that as well. Okay, so we got most of the makeup on. So now we're going to kind of go through our powder process, which gives it more of that airbrush look. So I'm just doing some little last minute blending. So what we're going to do before we jump into the powder is that we're going to try to pull off any excess product that we have. So this is the sponge that you have the orange one, and you're going to want to get it kind of damp. So I usually just kind of wring it, like put it under water for a little bit and wring all the wet stuff out of it. and we're just gonna press it into our skin. Now what we're doing here, we're lifting up any excess product, but we're also kind of still blending our face. So just to make sure, again, getting that really smooth lines that we want. So kind of blend, 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 blend. Definitely blend that contour in there. And then always blend my chin area just to make sure I don't have any lines that show up. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to move on into our powder. So you should have some of this air spun powder. And I just take that same perfector sponge and I just get it very heavy. Now, the key to this is not putting it on your blush or your contour spots. You want to put this on your highlight areas and kind of in your T-zone. So I start right here on my forehead and just kind of pat it out. Pat, 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 pat. Pat my chin. Definitely get this, because the thing with creams is we shouldn't be touching our faces a lot during the day, but it happens. But they wipe off a little bit easier when you're touching your skin. So this is a really good way to kind of help do that. So I definitely put this powder anywhere that I know I tend to touch my face. Okay, so that is nice and powdery, a little scary. This is the boys' favorite part when I do it. Kind of cracks them up. So, okay. So, with all of that, I'm going to go ahead and while this is kind of just sitting, what I like to do is go ahead and do like my eyeshadow. So I'm going to do the easy eyeshadow that we talked about, and I would just try to use one of your like thicker eyeshadow brushes and just kind of take that contour and let's just put it right there in that crease. Put that in the crease. I'm gonna blend that out. I think I got too much contour on there, but that's okay. I can blend. So keep blending, ends up fixing any mistake. So yeah, that just kind of gives it a nice little hooded color, and you're not even, and with it being this cream, it's gonna stay really well throughout your day. And again, I'm just gonna do the eyeshadow that's kind of gonna be your everyday look. Again, you can always dress all of this up. So while that's kind of there, then I would move on and I would use this Glamazing right here to kind of do that inside of my eyelid right here. And I just use my finger, to be honest. Kind of rubs in really well. There we go. That one. Then we're gonna get this one right here. Okay, so now that that's in there, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to swipe off this extra powder. It doesn't need to sit that long. You just kind of want to give it some time to like the cream to soak it up. So now you're gonna use this fun and fluffy brush. So I take the powder brush and I just brush it off. You're not necessarily trying to brush it into your skin, just think of like sweeping it off of your skin very nicely. And see how much more of a airbrush look we get from that. So much nicer. Okay, so after I brush my powder off, what I typically do is go into my bronzer. Well, before I go into bronzer, I want to let you know about this vanilla dust. So this loose powder is great when you're sitting at your house and in your bathroom, but if you are in the car trying to do all your makeup, you can use this vanilla dust powder kind of in the same concept. It's not going to be as cakey on there, but it still kind of gives you that option to put that powder, that airbrush finish on it. So usually now same thing with that flat top brush. When you're using your fluffy brush to swipe in here, you don't want to swipe these other colors. So I squeeze, so it's really big, nice and fluffy, and then I squeeze it to kind of fit inside there, and then kind of open it back up when I go to use it. And so then you just put that vanilla dust where we just did the baking process at. Okay, so now that we've done our powder, this is where I like to move on to my bronzer. So especially with summertime, sometimes we just want that extra color. And so for bronzers, I know it's really confusing between bronzers and contours, but bronzers, we're just going to kind of put where the sun would kiss, just up there on that, kind of over that blush and that contour, just to give us a nice tan glow. And then you also kind of put this where your contour goes on your forehead, just up there on the top. Get some Glamazing in there. And then I run it really quick down my nose, and then I usually circle my chin. I will also usually do my neck just to kind of bring it all down. And there's my bronzed look. Okay. So that is basically all your face powder. So let's go ahead and finish out our eyes. So you got the same eyeliner or eyebrow pencil that Alex and I use, and we love it. So it's this Revlon one, the soft brown. So for eyebrows, just kind of go in there and like, I kind of start drawing out my eyebrows first, where I want them, and then I go back in and I kind of fill them out. After you get down to this piece, so then I kind of go up, like, so think about your hair strokes. You just kind of want to follow the direction that your hair naturally goes. It's a little dark. That's okay. And then brush it out. So yeah, soft brown goes a long way. So I have a little bald spot in there I had to fill in. So same thing, kind of shape out your eyebrows like you'd want them. You kind of bring them to a point here and then bring them down over here. Standing on the bottom, kind of a straight to this like other side of your iris right here, your pupil. And then just go straight down. And then do your hair strokes. Up, 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 up. Up, up, up. And then I brush it out. Get it all nice and smooth. So again, you start right here in the center part. Start really thin. And then just kind of pull it on out. Up in there. And then kind of down in here as well. Again, you kind of don't go all the way through. And so then this is where I kind of like patch it up from there. Get nice and smooth. Same thing right here. Start thin in the middle. Go all the way through. Ooh, has a nice little hook to it. Tone that one down. Then I just kind of fill it where I need it. There we go. Okay, so that's kind of my eyeliner that I do. And so the other last piece that I wanted to show you, of course you do your mascara. I usually do that at the end. Don't do that just yet. So I recommend you using that brush that you just bought. That is kind of says for eyeliner. You can also use this for lip liner. So using this brush, you can take your contour color right here and just kind of line those lips. It's kind of bright and brown, but works wonders. Then I just take my finger and just kind of smear it a little bit up into my lid, not necessarily down. And then you'll take this part, do it as well. Okay, a little finer. And then for your preference, you like using that sandstone. So let's just put that right there in those lips. Okay, so I will say though, if you want like a little bit of a pinkier look than this look, I like to mix my lip colors. So I would just take that sandstone I've already put on my lips, and I would take this pink grapefruit and just rub it on there. Just really softly, not a ton. And then a little bit brighter for daytime color. Okay, so that is our lips, and then we're going to do this illuminator. I put on our brow bones to kind of define it. And I think we liked it whenever we kind of put it right there on the top of your brow bone to kind of make those eyebrows pop a little bit. So you got it there. You can also pat it into your lip color. It gives it a little bit of an ombre. Also put it right here in your Cupid's bow. And then if you're feeling extra fancy, you're going to just rub that right in there on your highlighter spot. We call this illuminator. But right there and put it in and give you a little extra sparkle. Okay, so the last step before you do your mascara to finish all this off is going to be the Stay Spray again. So, and what's good about doing this at this point is that you're getting your Stay Spray in your lip color, you're getting it in your eyebrows, you're getting your eyeshadow, plus all the makeup that you just put on. So, and then last but not least, go ahead and put on that mascara. Okay, so that is our final look, mascara and all. I wasn't going to torture you with me putting mascara on, but as you can see, it kind of is well blended, kind of has that brightening effect around here, and then it kind of has that nice dark tint in here to kind of create that shadow for those jaws that we have, which is really nice. So I hope you love it. I'm excited to see how it goes as you start experimenting with it and putting on. So again, one thing to remember is that this makeup is so adjustable. So this is my recommendation of how to put it on. But as you start getting into it, you'll come up with your own tips and tricks and preferences on applying. And that's just part of the fun.